In South Korea. He's a political science professor at Pusan National University. Robert, good to have you on the programme. So far, both sides firing at each other across the sea border. But how worried are you by these exchanges? Do you think they could escalate into something more serious?
Well, there's always the potential, right? And particularly in dealing with North Korea, we don't really know why North Korea makes these sorts of choices, and North Korea very often violates established international norms. You may remember in the same area 3 or 4 years ago, the North Koreans sank a South Korean destroyer and killed 40 people. So North Korea is sort of known for being unpredictable. That said, these kinds of things have happened before. Shellings and shootings and naval incidents and collisions and whatnot take place in the Yellow Sea, actually with fairly common with some regularity. And so these things usually don't spin out of control. So I would not imagine that Southern elites are really that afraid at the moment. I'm not. I mean, these things have happened before.
There has been some build-up recently, though. It's no coincidence that the US and the South Korea are conducting joint military exercises at the same time. Presumably that's what's frustrating North Korea.
Yeah, I mean, whenever the South and the United States sort of run exercises or have some kind of high-profile meeting, the North is prone to lash out. Northern ideology actually relies a lot on the idea that North Korea is out to get, or excuse me, that America is out to get North Korea. And so whenever the Americans are sort of operating in the region, it's a good opportunity for the North to sort of go after that, sort of hit that sort of like old standby. This is what the North needs to justify itself to its own people, the privation and everything else. And so they sort of beat up on the Americans all the time. So whenever Obama's around or there's some big meeting or something like that, it's a great opportunity for these kinds of sort of little spats and stuff like that. And that helps explain, why North Korea is what it is for its people.
North Korea has recently also threatened a fourth nuclear test at some point.
Right.
We don't know whether that's imminent or not, but how is South Korea going to respond to that?
I actually think that's much more significant than what has happened today. Like I said, these little things in the Yellow Sea usually don't spiral, as I think we fear they do. But the nuclear issue is much more significant. North Korea now has a well-known, well-established detonation capacity. That is, they can actually explode a device. The real issue is now, can they miniaturize it, put it on top of a rocket, and actually send it somewhere? And that takes a fair amount of testing, too, and that's what people expect now. I don't think South Korea will do anything this time, but the larger concern is, if North Korea keeps running with the missile program and the nuclear program, at some point they're going to have a really serious first strike capacity. They could actually, nuke a fair amount of South Korea. And so that might actually force the South Koreans' hand at actually striking the sites. That's my real fear in the next few years, 5 to 8 years.
Indeed. Robert, thanks very much indeed for that, for your analysis. Robert Kelly there in Pusan National.